Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
This is Mr. Chris Claremont, a legend.
Melanie goes,
Tired.
Hey, all you minties, Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my advanced look at the Absolute Batman and Son from DC Comics. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, what we're looking at here is the latest Absolute Edition from DC Comics. If you're looking for my Final Crisis Absolute Edition overview, that will be coming out sometime this week, I promise. I just finished recording it, but I think this one probably needs to be edited first. Am I saying that right? Doesn't matter. I can edit this later. Anyway, what we're looking at here is Absolute Batman and Son. This is the beginning of Grant Morrison's run on Batman. So here we have Absolute Batman and Son by Grant Morrison, the DC logo. And yes, there is a leaflet because this does come sealed in plastic. And here's your little leaflet telling you what's collected in here and the ISBN, how much it is, and a little bit about the stories found in here. So we have this back piece also supplied by Andy Kubert, and then of course the spine of the actual book, Absolute Batman and Son by Grant Morrison, and the DC logo. So this is an Absolute Edition, meaning that it is a slipcase. So here we have another piece by Andy Kubert, and of course featuring Batman and Son and some Man-Bats there. We saw the spine, which looks very similar to the spine of the actual slipcase. And then the back of the book right here, which is one of my favorite pieces. That one penciled and inked by Andy Kubert. Alright, so this has been previously released before in trade paperback format. It's been released in, as a matter of fact, in a deluxe edition format. And it also recently, well, I say recently, it's been a few years, but it has come out in an omnibus edition. However, the mapping for this is a little bit different than the mapping for the omnibus edition. I'll get more in depth here when I talk about the mapping of the Absolute here in a little bit, and then of course do a little bit of the comparison with the omnibus. Alright, let's go ahead and crack this book open. I can't believe I've never talked about Grant Morrison's Batman. I think Volume 3 is the first time I talked about the omnibus because it was coming out. I was doing hauls. Anyway, so this is my first time really talking about it. So I may have some spoilers in here, but I'll let you know ahead of time when I'm about to talk about the spoilers. Okay, let's go ahead and crack the book open. You have the end sheets here with the Bats pattern and the title, Absolute Batman and Son by Grant Morrison. Another piece by Andy Kubert, but there's so many people that drew this besides Andy. As a matter of fact, here are all the credits of the pencilers, the inkers, the colorist, lettering, and of course the collection cover art. Batman created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane. Absolute Batman and Son by Grant Morrison, but Grant Morrison really doing the big part of the writing here. For the most part, this is an Andy Kubert, J.H. Williams III, Tony S. Danielle book. As far as the art, the inks are mainly done by Jesse Delpordang and Sandu Flore and Mark Irwin, Chris Burnham doing some of the inks, Dave Stewart supplying most of the colors with Guy Major, and then the lettering mainly by Nick Napolitano and Rob Lay, just to name a few, and then of course the others. And your table of contents, you have an introduction, a brand new introduction by Andy Kubert, and then of course the breakdown of the issues. Now, one thing you're going to note is, wait a second, where is issue 666? It goes from 665 to 667. I promise I'll explain here in a little bit. It is here, believe me. As a matter of fact, it's right there. Here's your introduction by Andy Kubert, talking about the opportunity of drawing Batman, how he was just enamored with the character when his dad would bring back comics from working at DC Comics, and Batman, and of course Sergeant Rock and Haunted Tank were some of his favorites. But just being attached to this project, giving a lot of love to what happened at Marvel Comics and what he was able to build. All right, collected in here is Batman 655 to 658, 663 to 669, 672 to 675, and Batman Incorporated, Volume 2, Issue number 5. So, Immediately you're going to ask, what about those missing issues? Now, those missing issues, part of them are also not collected in the omnibus format. The omnibus, which is right here, collects issues 655 to 658, skipping 659 to 662 and going to 663 to 683. So this does collect a few of the issues that are not in here, but also don't collect the John Ostrander story, which is the grotesque story, which happens in issue 659 to 662. That's not collected in the absolute. It's not collected in the omnibus format either. The two issues that were left out, though, issues 670 and 671, were part of the Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. Those are collected with recap pages in here. They are not part of this absolute edition. So that's just something to keep in mind. So this goes all the way to issue 675, too. So the mapping is a little bit different. Now, before I go ahead and start talking about some of the minor spoilers... No, you know what? I'm going to talk about some minor spoilers. So just going into this, I'm going to talk about minor spoilers about some of the things that happened beforehand and then some of the stories found in here. So minor spoilers for the pitch and everything that's going to happen through here. All right. Before reading this, people always ask, what should you read? You know, I've heard rumors that Batman could have a son. Not really anything. I think everything you need to read is here, although Grant Morrison begs to differ. There's the private case book files, which Morrison does a lot of writing as a love letter to the Batman that has come before. A lot of Golden Age and Silver Age stories that they found amazing play a big part of this, and that's part of the minor spoilers I want to talk about here in a little bit. The main thing, probably, if you want to, is the Son of the Batman. That was a original graphic novel that came out in the 80s. The other big thing, The Death in the Maidens, the book written by Greg Rucka, that miniseries, probably read to read before here, because during this particular time, we're going to find some status quos that have been changed. Okay, so very, very beginning, we kick off with Morrison's start on Batman. This is the beginning of Morrison's run on Batman that will go all the way for a few years, and some of it has been collected in Absolute Edition. You have the Batman and Robin collected in Absolute Edition. I believe that one's getting a reprint. And also the Batman in INC Incorporated, which I'll talk a little bit about here in a few. So we find the Joker here having a beat down on the Batman, kidnapping kids, and this particular Batman wakes up with a gun and blasts Joker in the face. So it's a little bit confusing. So why are there two Batman? What's going on? Is Batman losing his mind? Meanwhile, the body gets thrown down like a piece of junk, and it's like Batman has snapped a little bit. So all of that will be answered within these pages when you find out why there were two Batman, why one of them shot the Joker in the face, what's going on, and why Commissioner Gordon looks like this. But what you really need to know is that Batman has been cleaning up a lot of the streets of Gotham. All of this taking place after the events of Infinite Crisis. And if you remember Infinite Crisis, Batman, or Bruce Wayne rather, was gone on sabbatical. Like, he was gone for about a year. And then he came back. There are a couple of supervillains that are still on the loose. Joker was one of them, and there's a couple of other minor ones, and one big one that I don't want to reveal who it is yet. But when Bruce Wayne came back as Batman, so this takes place 1 year later, after Infinite Crisis, during the time that Paul Dini was also writing Detective Comics, Bruce Wayne has decided to clean up Gotham. And he is going hard at it. There is a really good line right here, because you start to see what Morrison is doing from the very beginning, and that's doing a deep dive of the character of Bruce Wayne. That there is really no line between Bruce Wayne and Batman. That it's either Batman pretending to be Bruce Wayne more so than Bruce Wayne pretending to be Batman. This line right here is so good. I hope you don't mind me saying so, sir. That growl in your voice, the one you used to have to practice before you went out as Batman, you're doing it all the time. So it's like Bruce Wayne can't separate himself from Batman. And of course, Alfred, being the father figure, notices that. So he's suggesting that, Bruce Wayne lay down a little while and just have some fun, go to some parties, be a socialite. be the character that Bruce Wayne is supposed to be. So we get a little bit of an interlude here. And this interlude is with this young lady that has been kidnapped, that will play a big part in all of this. And we see Kirk Langstrom show up here. Now, Dr. Kirk Langstrom, for people that have been reading Batman for a while, is the gentleman that created the Man-Bat serum and can turn into Man-Bat. Somebody is pretty much blackmailing him because they kidnapped his wife to give them the Man-Bat serum. And of course, this has nothing to do with the party that Bruce Wayne is going to attend. I love the colors here, by the way. The pop art that is going on through this party is awesome. So yes, there is an army of Man-Bat Ninja that are coming to attack this party because Bruce Wayne cannot get away from anything bad. We get to meet this socialite right here. She's an ex-model. This is Jezebel Jet, who will play a love interest through Grant Morrison's run on Batman. So yes, the Man-Bat Ninja break in here and start running amok, and Batman has to put a stop to this. So even though Bruce Wayne was just trying to have some fun and partying, he can't get away. So it's time to take them down. Now, it turns out that Talia Ghul was behind the attack. And what Talia wants to do was to get the detective's attention, and she wants to tell him about their son. So they have a kid. And she's like, oh, here's your son, by the way. Good luck raising him and trying not to kill each other. So this is where we meet Damian Wayne right here. Father, I imagined you taller. Who is one of these characters that you just love to hate. He was a character that was introduced through these pages, and he is just a 10-year-old spoiled brat that was raised by the League of Assassins, that didn't have a father figure there really watching over him, teaching him the differences between, what crossing the line is and doing the right thing. So without question, Batman kind of takes him in and says, okay, here's my Bat Cave. Look, kid, this is the way I run ship here. You are no longer going to be an assassin. You're going to listen to me. I do love the dynamic between both of them and how Batman reacts to this kid. Because, this is Batman who's no stranger to kids. For example, here's Tim Drake. During this time, he's also Tim Drake's father, his foster father. But he raised Dick Grayson, Jason Todd in a way. But anyway, it's not like he's not familiar with children. But this time is a little bit different because this is his own blood and somebody that he feels responsible because he wasn't there to be a part of their life. So it's all about this adjustment period, which is the title of this book, Batman and Son, which I find very interesting because we're about to see a couple of changes. So it's really broken up into 3, maybe 4 little arcs. This is the way that Damian sees life. Like, he sees bad guys and he kills them. And Tim Drake's like, dude, we don't do that. It's so easy to kill people. It's harder to fight somebody and do the right thing and bring them into justice. So there's this beatdown here. And he's trying to replace the fake son, Tim Drake. So that's what the first arc is. The first arc is literally getting to meet the character of Damian Wayne and how he will play a part in Batman's life. The next story arc, The Clown at Midnight, happens to be one of the most controversial stories for a lot of people, because I think when people think of comics, they don't think, holy crap, here is a prose novel. I paid for a comic. This can't be the right thing. This is a very interesting story. I happen to love it, but I completely understand why people hate this story. I love it because of the way that it's written and what Grant Morrison does with the idea of the Joker. So the basic premise of The Clown at Midnight is that after being shot in the face, the Joker is kind of reinventing himself. And it's not the first time he's done it. Through this narrative, you find out that Joker has, I hate to use the term regenerated like Doctor Who, but has regenerated or reinvented himself many times in the past. And how he does it is a really dark and twisted way. So we've never seen it. We've never seen how it happened. We haven't seen the behind the scenes. But this breaks down exactly how he is able to accomplish that. And like I said, I can understand why people don't like it. As a matter of fact, it tends to be a little wordy. There's a lot of analogies here. a lot of metaphors overused and almost in your face. So I can see why people think it's rather pretentious. I happen to like it because I like the deep study on the character of the Joker and why he does act different than, when Grant Morrison's writing the character as opposed to somebody like Paul Dini writing the character. I find that to be an interesting concept, and he gets revisit later on. The Three Ghosts of Batman is the other story arc that's going on through here. Batman and Jezebel are getting, or Bruce Wayne rather, and Jezebel are getting acquainted with each other, getting to know each other a little bit more. But Batman keeps having these dreams about these three different Batmen, and these three Batman will play a huge part in Bruce Wayne's life and in this particular story arc that's going on here. And you can see one of them looks a lot like Bane and beats the living crud out of Batman. Now, Andy Kubert does end up leaving the book. He could not hold a monthly title, so he does end up leaving the book, which J.H. Williams takes over during this particular storyline right here, which I happen to like. This is kind of like a whodunit Agatha Christie type of murder mystery, and this was part of the, what was it called? The Black Glove storyline? Yeah, it's the Black Glove storyline that introduces us to the concept, or reintroduces us rather, because remember, I said Morrison really wrote this as a love letter to some of the stories they enjoyed, whether it was Silver Age or Golden Age, but we're introduced to the concept of different Batman throughout the world. Bruce Wayne Batman has inspired so many different people in his life that have taken up a very similar mantle in their different countries. Like you have a Mexican Batman, you have a British Batman, and J.H. Williams just kills it with the artwork here. I'm a huge fan of his stuff. So I'm glad it's not like a absolute Batman by Grant Morrison and Andy Kubert. I'm glad that the other artists were a part of this. I love this pop art right here. So this is a murder mystery. They all get invited to this island and then realize, wait a minute, somebody's out to kill us. And that leads into the ongoing The Three Ghosts of Batman. So you get to meet more of those ghost Batman characters that Bruce Wayne saw in his vision. And the whole time, what ends up happening is that Batman realizes that, wait a second, somebody's pulling the strings here. Somebody obviously is messing with me. Somebody that knows me really well, somebody that knows Batman, and I gotta figure out who that is. Well, you have this whole concept of Zur-En-Arrh, which of course Chip Zdarsky borrows a lot heavily in his run, and you start to question, okay, if Batman has a backup plan for everything, did he lose his damn mind throughout this, and he's making up a lot of this stuff that's going on through these pages? That is something that a lot of people have asked, and of course this leads directly into the big storyline that is Batman R.I.P., which happens around the same time that Final Crisis was happening. This is where you're going to find the issue 666, so it's not, yes, 666, sorry. So it's not Andy Kubert coming back, was done during his run, and this is a possible future, although Grant Morrison says that this is the future of Batman, and it is canon. So what you're reading here really will happen. But then again, Grant Morrison isn't writing Batman anymore, so who knows? And the editors are a little different now as they were back then during Grant Morrison's run. So in this possible future, according to Grant Morrison, we have a new Batman and we have a new commissioner. This time it is Barbara Gordon. The person underneath the mask shall remain a mystery. You can find out who that is. And that story continues into the Batman Incorporated issue that is also collected here with artwork by Chris Burnham. So that's why those two issues are in the back, because they're that future storyline. All right, let's look at the extras. So we have original art here from Andy Kubert. It's original pages before the inks, and of course the lettering and the colors, and that's mainly issue 666 right there. And then character designs right here by J.H. Williams III of the different Batman. And I love the concept art for the covers, like the ideas for the covers. And original pages right there, layouts by Chris Burnham. And I assume there was Okay, I guess there was a movie. I am not up to date with my DC animated movies, so yes, apparently in 2014, obviously I'm not up to date. That was 10 years ago. There was a Son of the Batman movie. Okay, cool. There's Talia, and there's Damian, and there's Bruce, Batman, and the Ninja Man Bats, I assume, or maybe just regular Man Bats, because sometimes adaptations are just that, adaptations. They don't have to follow the story. And then Absolute Batman and Son by Grant Morrison, cover design process right there. And the bio on the creators and your end sheets. So let's take a look at the binding. 456 pages. The book has sewn binding. Lays over quite nice. There's really no gutter loss going on through these pages. Even like you look at pages like this at the beginning and they look like this with no gutter loss. There's no art that's lost. And the book again retails for $150, printed in this really thick glossy paper. Now something I wanted to do really quick is just, oh, these are the new 52 pages that I'm surprised those aren't collected in here. So those new 52 pages kind of hint as to what's going on with Batman through these pages here. So I wanted to do a little comparison with the Omnibus edition as far as the colors and the way the book lays over. Of course, it lays over perfect here, whereas over here you do have a little bit of gutter loss. And that's mainly due to that tight binding. But both of them printed in glossy paper. The paper stock of the Omnibus, not as thick as the Absolute edition. Colors look a little bit more vibrant in the Absolute edition, and I mean just slightly. Not by a lot. Let me look at this page right here. And they've taken away the credit pages from the issues. The only credits you get are at the very beginning, where they tell you the artist. Oh, I'm sorry. And also, right here in the table of contents telling you who drew the issue. For example, The Clown at Midnight was drawn by John Van Fleet. But there you go. So that's it. I don't think I gave too many spoilers. Maybe I want to kind of do an old reader, new reader on this because I'm curious what Maddie and Amanda will think about this story. Because it starts off really normal, right? By the time you get to the third arc that's found in this Absolute Edition, it gets a little weird. And then when you get to RIP, it's one of those, what am I reading? What's going on? And it takes a long time, or it took me a long time to appreciate it. And I still know people that cannot stomach Final Crisis, which will be funny because that's the other Absolute Edition that just came out recently, and I'm going to be talking about. But that's it. That, as they say, why am I? Sorry. I'll put that in the slipcase. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this Absolute Edition, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, page count, and build of this Absolute. Let me know in the comments down below if you already have the trade paperbacks, the deluxe edition, the omnibus edition, or if you're getting all of Morrison's run on Batman in Absolute format. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to smash that like button. What other Batman do you want to see in Absolute edition? That's one of my favorite questions to ask because everybody wants something a little bit different. And that's it, everybody. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.